Jakarta shines with dreams so bright.
Di kota yang tak pernah lelah bermimpi, Jakarta tumbuh, bergerak mencari arti, dari gang sempit hingga gedung tinggi, tersimpan semangat untuk menembus batas negeri. Namun, mimpi besar tak bisa sendiri, perlu tangan yang terulur dari seberang bumi. Berlin dan Jakarta, dua titik yang saling mengisi, menjahit masa depan lewat inovasi dan kolaborasi. Hari ini kita bukan bicara hanya tentang kota, tapi ekosistem yang bisa mendunia. Karena ketika pemimpi dan inovator bersuara, Jakarta pun menjelma kota global yang bercahaya. Perkenalkan, nama saya Raka Ikrar, Head of Programs dari Habibie Innovation Incubator. Selamat malam. Oke, selamat malam Jakarta. Kurang semangat. Guten Abend Jakarta. Guten Abend, selamat malam. Oke, so hari ini kita akan punya sesi yang menarik karena kacamatanya adalah Jakarta Global. Jadi aku akan share sedikit bahwa Jakarta dan Berlin itu telah menjalin kerjasama yang dibangun lebih dari 30 tahun. Mulai dari pertukaran budaya, kolaborasi ekonomi, bahkan inisiatif kota kembar atau sister city. Namun sekarang kolaborasi itu bertumbuh dari sudut pandang inovasi, kewirausahaan, dan pembangunan berkelanjutan. So, hari ini aku akan memanggil 4 pembicara yang akan sharing, especially hubungan antara Jakarta dan Berlin. Tapi because most of these speakers are foreigners, so I'm gonna conduct the session in English if everybody is okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna invite all the speakers to come to the stage. So first, we have Mr. Christian Sutardi, partner at Nexus Core and co-founder of Kopi. Please give a big round of applause. Second, we have Daniel Schröder, Head of Digital Green Innovation Indonesia from GIZ Indonesia. Please give a big round of applause. Third, the only female in the panel, we have Sabrina Salsabilla, CEO of ReservoAir. And lastly, Daniel Tumewu, Asia Berlin Ambassador. Please give a big round of applause. Good evening, everyone. You're good? Everyone is good?
Good evening.
Okay, so for our audience, I'm gonna do one introduction one at a time. So I think I'm gonna start from Chris. If you can share about yourself and also what currently you are doing in your daily life. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris. So maybe I fit quite perfectly into this panel because I'm half Indonesian and half German. So I have a lot to do with Berlin as well and Hamburg. But I live in Jakarta. I spent most of my childhood in Germany. Every summer I spend here in Jakarta and Bogor actually, Jakarta as well. Been here now for 12 years, and my background is actually finance. I invest in startups. I build some startups, and yeah, I'm glad to be here and share what I can share.
Next, Daniel Schröder.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I work for GZ, German Development Agency, responsible for digital topics and development organization. My background is actually in civil engineering, but I focused my whole career on telecommunications, information technology and services, and then later on innovation management. I ran an incubator and accelerator innovation lab in Berlin for 5 years for Deutsche Telekom. Moved to Jakarta 3 years ago, following a very long dream since I'm married to an Indonesian woman for 20 years now. So there's also a big relationship for me to Indonesia. And right now I'm running a program which is called Digital Green Innovation, trying to further the green and digital innovation and incubate companies in Indonesia.
Thank you, Daniel. And then next, Sasa.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Mas Raka. My name is Sasa, but it's Sabrina, but just call me Sasa. Now I'm CEO of ReservoAir. So yeah, this is a startup also focusing on sustainable water management. So yeah, I have been interacting with these two Daniels from the Asia Building Summit that I joined in 2024. Other than maybe my background is environmental engineering and also, I'm helping 2 days a week in Nuffic, South Asia, also helping about water problems. So maybe my life is around water. And we talk more after this. Yeah.
Thank you. Last, Daniel Tumewu. Yeah, I forgot to mention that there are two Daniel in the panel. We have two Daniel in the panel and even in the ecosystem. So yeah, now Daniel Tumewu. Can you?
Does it work? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'll start with, or like I end how we started because I'm similar like Chris. Also half German, half Indonesian. Was also born in Germany. Lived the first few decades of my life without saying how old we are now. In Germany and have been working the last few years here in Jakarta. My earlier career in Germany was in consulting, in innovation consulting to be precise. And here in Indonesia, it's a lot about that topic as well. That's a collaboration we're having with the other Daniel, with GIZ, for example, but we will maybe talk about this a bit more later on. At the same time, I'm representing the city of Berlin as the so-called Asia Berlin ambassador. But we might talk about this later on as well, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So that is our speakers for today, and I'm gonna start the discussion right away. So maybe first I'm gonna address to Daniel Tumewu. So reflecting on the name of the session, Jakarta Going Global, International Collaboration for Innovation. You also mentioned a bit about Asia Berlin. Maybe you can also give us an explanation of what is Asia Berlin.
Yeah, thank you, Raka. So, yeah, so many keywords on this. Where to start, right? Let me try to get to all the buzzwords in my short answer. Number one, as I mentioned, so we are working on this innovation collaboration, right? So cross-border between Germany and Indonesia, in particular between Jakarta and Berlin. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but Berlin and Jakarta have a more than 30 years lasting partnership already. Our official sister cities, how it's called in English. So there's a city partnership, and as Jakarta always wants to be kota kolaborasi, right? So this is a very good and intense collaboration in terms of innovation, in terms of culture, in terms of startups, in terms of many other fields as well. Yeah, and as Haka said, so there's this program by the Berlin government called Asia Berlin, reaching out, interestingly, not to other Western countries, not to America, but basically to Asian ecosystems and looking at collaboration opportunities. In particular, Jakarta, one of the hubs because of this sister city partnership. And it's not just me, it's a full network of so-called Asia Berlin ambassadors, including the team in Berlin. And I think we have someone from the Berlin team, the head of Asia Berlin.
Thank you, Daniel, for the amazing introduction.
Cool.
Welcome to everyone. I'm super happy to be here, and I would really like to thank you all, but also and specifically the GIZ for making this possible. Also, hi Incubator, and of course, first and foremost, the Jakarta city government that has been such a great partner for all those years, especially as a sister city. We drove a lot of massive projects forward. We're really looking forward to continue this collaboration. So what is H Berlin? H Berlin is a project initiated by the Berlin city government to connect the Berlin startup ecosystem, which is one of the most vibrant one in Europe, with startup ecosystems in Asia. And there, obviously, Jakarta plays a big role, representing the overarching Indonesian market. So I'm really looking forward to what this panel is going to bring, especially not only in collaborations between Berlin and Jakarta, but also in the overarching framework of Germany, Indonesia, or even region to region like Europe to Southeast Asia, where we see so many promising opportunities coming up, especially now where the geopolitical shifts have a little bit made it, let's say, more favorable for Asia and Europe to move closer and work tighter together. In Asia Berlin, we have a few different projects. We, for example, run events like yours right now in the markets in Asia, but also here in Berlin. We also run delegation trips, and we are actually quite happy that we can actually announce 3 delegation trips right now. The first one is a delegation trip to Texas in Bangkok in August. Second one will be an investor delegation trip to Colombo in Sri Lanka to check out some really awesome opportunities that only arose this year. And the third one is going to Shanghai for Estron later in September. And of course, we hope that Jakarta can be our next destination for future delegation trips. So let's plan something together. I'm super excited. The biggest thing that we do in the year is the Asia Berlin Summit, which is a startup conference here in Berlin, happening in the Berlin Mayor Office in the Town Hall of Berlin. A few of you have been there over the last years. The overarching idea and the value proposition for Indonesian startups to come to the Asia Berlin Summit is really that you have in 1 week, you will really kind of like dive deep into the Berlin startup ecosystem. And why is that important? Because if you plan your European market entry with your startup, then it makes sense to look at like the most biggest innovation drivers in Europe, and those are basically London, Paris, and Berlin. So we from Berlin side believe that we have quite a lot of like interesting things to offer. For example, we have an English-speaking ecosystem here. We have the largest venture capitalist build inside of Germany, and we are also a major innovation driver in the overall region. So that might be interesting. And if you want to check it out within 1 week, pretty much meeting like all the different stakeholders, all the different innovation centers, and at the same time present your startup here to European markets, then the Asia Berlin Summit might be for you. So I leave you now with a small little video of the vibe of the Asia Berlin Summit that we had last year. And I hope to see you in November, 24th to 28th of November. And for now, I wish you guys a really fruitful event and a lot of great ideas how we can actually collaborate better cross-border between Indonesia and Germany. Thank you.
Welcome all of the Asian startups here in the city of Berlin.
I've met a lot of new people.
Players from Asia, like Indonesia, Japan, and Thailand.
This is definitely the right place to make those connections between Asia and Germany.
Maybe.
And this is what Asia Berlin Summit is all about, to connect people, to bring businesses together, to be in the main fields of our startup ecosystem.
You don't get this opportunity to see all the cool people at one place, and I actually always look forward to this summit, and I'm going to be looking forward to the next year as well.
Okay, so we've seen the videos, but also I want to talk with you in the room. So I have Kickstarter questions to all of you, because this topic of Jakarta as a global city is very, very the center. And if you noticed in Bundaran HI, there's this installation of Jakarta 500 ya. And I mean itu masih 2 tahun 3 tahun lagi and they already putting it. And that is because the spirit of Jakarta as a global city. So we know Jakarta has all the ingredients to become a global city. And that only happens if innovators, entrepreneurs, investors are thinking and acting globally. So to each and every one of you, just with a short sentence, from your perspective, what it takes to bring Jakarta's innovation community to the global level? Maybe from you? From Chris.
Yeah, I guess Jakarta doesn't have to be too humble. There's amazing culture here. We don't have to always look at commodities. So I guess Jakarta, you have roots and you are creative. You can go global without doubt, right? So don't be too doubtful.
Don't be too doubtful. That's very nice. Daniel?
I think what a key asset to being innovative is also curiosity, and that's what I always think about when I take a taxi from the airport to my home. The curiosity, it starts with a cab driver. It starts with your ojol, yeah, and it's embedded everywhere. So everybody's interested in so many things. So there's a natural curiosity in the city. I believe that drives innovation. So I agree with Chris that Jakarta is actually very well positioned to become, or even in some parts already is, a global hub, and it should be more bold and more confident, and also showing that we are curious, we want to grow, and we can, and start more focusing on solid execution and delivery.
So
instead
curiosity.
of doubting, curiosity is a key enabler.
For Sasa, one sentence. What does it take for Jakarta innovation community to go global?
Only one sentence. Yeah.
Daniel is more than one sentence.
Yeah, maybe 5 sentences.
No,
Okay. So as the innovators, maybe because the products in ReservoAir, it comes from innovations through universities. I think what we need is ecosystems, or maybe I usually call it enablers. Like the actors are already there, but we just need enablers. Like in Indonesia, I really like the word pemantik, but when I translate it to English, it's lighter, so it's not good. So I just
ignition.
Ignition. Yes. So yeah, pemantik or maybe enabler. So I think the actors are already there, so we just need enablers.
Okay, thank you. Daniel?
I would say the keyword empowerment. So on the one hand, it's nice to have events like this, right? So government supported or even government driven, bringing all of us together and talking about this. But too many times here it stays at, and let's spice it up a bit, yeah, at the beginning, it stays at talking and doesn't go until doing, right? And it also cannot be always done top down, okay, Jakarta government decides we're going to be a Kota Global now, but what does it mean, right? How do you empower all the communities to actually follow up on this, to do it, to also decide on their own and not just follow what the elites want you to do, but are empowered enough to actually go abroad, benchmark with other countries, to make sure that not just the city is global, but also all the communities within the city are global, with all the relationships that they have. So I think, and there's still a long way to go, and that's what we see reflected in Jakarta's global city ranking. But yeah, I mean, it's a process, so maybe we're taking a step.
Okay, interesting. So we have to be more confident, curiosity, enabler, and an empowerment. So that's what it takes to bring Jakarta globally. Maybe first to Daniel Schröder, because you have experience in managing digital innovation. You led digital innovation globally. You've worked with GZ, Who Brown, Dutch Telkom, as you mentioned as well. But maybe looking at this, being more bold to go abroad, how do you see Jakarta can tap into the global ecosystem? Maybe we can start with Berlin or Germany.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I stand by this idea that curiosity is something that, if it is a given, it is one of the key enablers that you might be looking for, so stay curious. How to tap into this? I think a key point for the Berlin ecosystem is the massive diversity of the city. So if you talk about Germany and you talk about Berlin, it's not, it's as if you would be talking about Munich and Bavaria, yeah? So it's not the same thing. It's a bit difficult to articulate, yeah? But if you go to Berlin, you will see it's rough and edgy, and then other areas of Germany might be completely different. But Berlin is such a global city itself already, with so much diverse, super diverse inhabitants, that alone attracts a lot of people. So taking note by that, so staying diverse, attracting lots of different people, lots of nationalities is one of the key enablers, because that will also include talent, yeah? So because people come to places because they feel well there, yeah? And they will only feel well there when they can bring part of the surrounding, part of the culture, and then also their knowledge and their talent. So I think that would be one key enabler. So keep your diversity level up in regards of people and nationalities, talent across the board from all sectors to get there. I think that's one of the key enablers. And then from a city perspective, I think you need to enable this. So be open, make it easy to come here, make it easy to maybe settle here, make it easier to start a company here, make it easy to go to school and all of these things. Yeah. So if you want to attract talent or want to tap into this ecosystem of global innovation hubs, so be one of those, you have to make it easy and you have to be accessible. I think that's also one of the key points. It always seems that it's very easy to go to Indonesia, you book a ticket, you fly to Denpasar, and you sit in Kuta or go to Canggu, and then you've been to Indonesia. That's the mindset of many people, yeah? But coming to Jakarta and staying here is significantly more difficult. And I think we need to make it more easy to come here and stay here.
Okay, I think you touched on a very good point. To be out there also in the open, we need to also open up ourselves, so make it easy for global exchange. But now I'm taking more from the local look, so I will ask to Christian, from your experience co-founding a major Indonesian coffee brand, if not currently one of the biggest, but also now you're going to VC advising. So from your point of view, what kind of ventures that you want to see from Indonesia to be explored globally?
Yeah, so in my perspective, I wouldn't, so from day one, I know that a lot of people say from day one you have to think globally, but I personally believe that the best products always grow in organic ways. Yeah, I guess the tech word for it is, okay, find your product market fit, right? So what does it mean? You actually have to create products, things, services that people actually love. They have to love it first, right? Before you can scale, right? So think about your product first, your service first, your story, your branding, before thinking about larger ideas such as going global, right? You can start in a, let's say, probably the brand that inspired us back then was Kopi, which now is synonymous with Cipete, right? Which is a neighborhood. So it started in a neighborhood, then it goes into the whole of Jakarta Selatan, Jakarta, different cities. Then, I mean, Indonesia is a big country, right? It's the 4th largest country. That's why a lot of VCs are in Indonesia. Then maybe you can start thinking about going abroad, right? So for Kopi Kenangan, I think it was 2017, so 7 years until we opened outlets in Singapore and Malaysia. So you can take your time. You don't have to force things. It's really about, growing organically, right? And that's really the thought that I also have when it comes to collaborations. It's much easier to grow organically, find the right partners. It's friendships, business, right? It's always about trust. Who do I like to hang out with people I trust, the people I like, right? Where do I want to conduct business in cities that I like? I want to work with, governments that I can trust, institutions that I can trust. So it's actually not as difficult in my opinion, right? I don't know, but you wanted to spice it up, but maybe not too spicy.
I'm gonna get back because you take also good points, partners. So we're gonna get there, but maybe first I'm gonna give to Sasa because you are part of the delegation from Indonesia that participated in Asia Berlin Summit last year. Maybe can you share your learning when going to Berlin or Europe? Okay, what do you see? Are there differences or any opportunities? And yeah, let's start there.
Okay, thank you. We also have these two startups that also join. We can ask them later. Okay, so maybe the lesson learned for me as a startup myself, the first one is that there are mix of Indonesian delegates, right? And it's not just because sometimes I classified myself as climate tech startup, but turns out that the 10 delegation is mixed. There's only from or AI, also health tech. So when we get there, there's also a mixed combinations of startup in Asia and also Berlin. The first thing that I get interested because like when I pitch and then I explain because my product is about water problem in Jakarta in Indonesia. They have no idea about the problems. Like they don't know about the groundwater problems in Jakarta. They don't know about the environmental problems in Indonesia. Maybe it's a very different kind of problem. So it's amazing also. So I have this change to kind of raise the awareness, for the Euro people about the problems in Indonesia and maybe in another side of the world. So they know that this kind of problems there should be innovations with this kind of problem. So that's also amazing. And the third one is also to see the different kind of innovations in Asia and Berlin. We also visited some booth from Korea, from Japan with very advanced technology, and it really amazed us.
Okay, thank you. And also, other than Berlin, you also have been traveling elsewhere. Maybe you can also share, like, from your perspective, what do you learn, like technology-wise, maybe?
Yes. So we also went to the museum for entertainment. But other than that, for the visit, we have the site visit to universities. And I also learned how the mechanism of the, commercialized technology from the universities, because I think that's the bridge that not many universities in Indonesia already has or already established. So we can really learn a lot about how can we make this ecosystem. So we have the universities to produce the innovation, and then we have this market and how to bridge this gap between those kind of sectors. So yeah, that's what I learned also.
Thank you. I'm gonna bring a question to Daniel. It's a bit difficult because I'm gonna combine all these points. Yeah. So Chris mentioned about getting the right partners, and then Sasa shared like, okay, when meeting the right partners, they learn something. So you are what we call an ecosystem enabler. Maybe you can also give a brief explanation of what ecosystem enabler is, but also from combining this perspective from investor, from startup, from international organization, how does the collaboration works actually, this international collaboration?
Indeed, the most difficult question. Maybe starting from the ecosystem enabler, right? So what we do here, we work with our partners, local as well as international partners, to support the ecosystem with programs, with access, locally and internationally, to get the support they need in order to be able to scale, to benchmark, to work on better quality products and so on, right? So that's what we do. We're trying to really be an open platform, gather all the relevant stakeholders, and then basically bring people together. Sometimes it's as easy as do a dinner or do a networking event. Sometimes it's joining conferences like this to tell the story, but sometimes it's also hands-on, working on finding the right suppliers, finding the right access to funding, investors, and so on and so forth. So it's really a bit of everything, and then shaking it and making sure that there's good quality output, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Now, in terms of collaboration, because I kind of thought you were going to ask the question, I asked ChatGPT what collaboration means, and ChatGPT tells me collaboration works when you stop building bridges and start being the bridge.
Can you repeat?
Punchline.
That's a good punchline.
Yeah, punchline, right? So, but when I was reading that, I thought like this is kind of like what we were talking about as well, right? So we keep talking about like all these opportunities in Jakarta. Oh, so young population, right? Big city and big market and so on. A lot of culture and so on, right? But it feels like something is holding this ecosystem back, right? It's the forever talent, right? It's being like around for a while, but something is holding Jakarta back, climbing the ladder in becoming like a top 20 or top 10 global city, even though it has the potential in terms of size, in terms of economic development, and also in terms of creativity, right? So I think, yeah, maybe it just takes that step and being the bridge. So it takes a step going, it takes a step exploring, maybe also failing and standing up again and trying again. Right?
Okay, it's so catchy. I still remember collaboration is when you stop building the bridge but being the bridge. We're talking about support, and GIZ is maybe one of the organizations that gives a lot of support to Indonesia especially. So maybe also Daniel Schröder, another Daniel, can share what currently is the hot topic, or which industries or issues that are currently being supported by international partners such as GIZ, and can you share any success stories as well?
Yeah, sure. First I want to commend Chris, for advocating for minimum lovable products and not for minimum viable products, So don't believe all the lean startup yada yada yada, Focus on something that people love first and then think about scaling, That's really, I mean, spot on. International corporations and our supports, I mean, the GIZ globally supports a lot of technical infrastructure projects. There's a lot of focus on climate, forestry, nature conservation, and so on and so forth. So that's our core business. And in the last couple of years, stuff like digital and digital transformation has entered this realm. And part of that is also this digital green innovation program, where we try to figure out how to advance activities in the convergence of digital and green. Because what we see, and AI is a nice example, I mean, Daniel just committed to wasting a lot of energy on finding a punchline. We have to take care that what we do in digital has still a sustainable effect on the ecosystem, and at the same time stuff that we do green we might enhance by digital technologies, and that's where we mostly work in. And that's also how we support or how we structure our support programs when it comes to digital and digital green innovation. And if you're looking for the topics that we are most interested in right now, are those that scale this transition most impactful. Data and AI is a gigantic topic for us. Not only in the terms of can I do green data centers or sustainable AI, but also ethical AI. How do I create procurement guidelines for governments to supply the government with capacity in the digital space in a sustainable and green way is a big topic. But at the same time also, how do I use these technologies to drive forward a transition to a greener economy? One example that we did in the last year was looking at geospatial data. So we take Earth observation data, satellite imagery, aerial imagery, and some groundproofing data. We put it into a machine, run an algorithm on top of it, and by that we can estimate the approximate carbon capacity of that. So you can tell by a satellite image how much carbon is stored in a certain type of forest with a certain accuracy. That sounds very unimpressive in the first thing, but you can do it for the whole of Indonesia within a minute. Normally this takes a year or two because you have to go everywhere, you need groundproofing data, and now through the machine it could do it so fast. So that's a major advancement. When it comes to startup collaboration or the collaboration in the innovation ecosystem, it's a bit, I think it's a bit difficult to pin out exact success cases, because even if you are a large organization with a significant amount of funding, finding the things that actually work among the many plants that you see is sparse. So I think being able to convince donor organizations to deploy more money and to deploy more resources in the advancement of innovation ecosystems in countries like Indonesia, that's, I guess, the big advancement. And that's also our success story. So our work for the last 3 years has convinced the European Commission through the Digital Green Innovation action to deploy a certain amount of funding to advance this landscape here, this ecosystem here. And that's also the story that we continue to write. Yeah? So if I write a proposal for funding for progress, it's always about digital green innovation. It's always about how do I make this innovation business viable, how do I make it investable, how can I grow the ecosystem as such. And I think that's a major success case right now. I would love to say this company we made grow and have a $1 billion investment. But that's a difficult thing to achieve. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I think it's a very tangible thing as well when we talk about this international collaboration that from Germany or even European, they're basically spending to support innovation in Indonesia, including. So, yeah, you want to add?
I mean, I think that's really important what you say. You always, if you look at international donor organizations, you always have to look what is their intention to invest money in a different region of the money. Because in the end, it is somewhat taxpayers' money of your citizens in a certain country that you are expending or dispersing in a different region of the world. I mean, if you follow the press about the international donor organizations and the funds that are playing out, it's not exactly positive everywhere. Yeah? So people are critical. Why is a country like Germany investing in, I don't know, cycling infrastructure in Peru? Or building a hydropower plant in Indonesia. Why? Because we need trustable partners on a global scale. We need reliable partners, not only business partners, but geopolitical, security, and also innovation partners around the globe. And that's a key indicator. If you acknowledge that and put this into the baseline of your thinking, then you can acquire more funding for activities.
Okay. Thank you. So that's what Daniel said. From the other side, Sasa, you are doing climate tech as well. So maybe from your side, what types of support that you maybe need, maybe in terms of investment, mentorship, or technical collaboration, but also if you can share what you have received that support, maybe the growth of ReservoAir.
Thank you. I think also in the context of going global, I think the most important thing for us, because I also echo what Chris just said, yeah, maybe it's different case in many startups. For example, in our delegations also, yeah, when we went there, some startup wants to do sales, maybe in Berlin, some wants to do partnerships. For me, I want to see the best practice of connecting research in universities to the market. So I think it's very important for us to get like mentorships, because especially in going global, yeah, quote unquote, we don't know what's out there. So we have to know, we have to adjust the knowledge that we already have, that maybe in that country or in that global context, what kind of topics that's also emerging, and what kind of problems that are there, what kind of innovation that's already there, and what kind of topics that people are interested. So that's really important for us to get to know that. And I also really like how the GIZ, for example, and also the Habibie Incubator, they brief us first when we go to the Berlin. So they want us to really define what is our objectives in going to the Asia Berlin Summit, so it can be very effective. And maybe if prior to the visits we have connections first, and then we can get in touch with some people, and then when we arrive there, we can just go to have short meeting with them. So I think that's really effective. That's really technical, but it really helps a lot with the startup like ours. And also in that case, I also have received the kind of mentorship within my venture builder, for example. So they have connections in Berlin. So when I visited there, I already have some people that I want to visit. So that's really effective.
So basically, going global also needs preparation. So it's not just like tour,
just buying
visit,
tickets and a visa. Not just like,
but you need to prepare your homework, but fun nonetheless, right? And then maybe to Chris, because also now you were partner at Nexus Core. So maybe you can also share a bit what is the vision is, and how to actually balance local relevance with the global ambition.
Okay, sure. So the vision of Nexus Core, you mean? Or
yeah.
Okay. I mean, so we are a brand new company with a few partners. One is sitting here, also on the left side. So Nexus Core. Nexus is actually a word for a bridge, and I think Daniel mentioned it beautifully. If you want to go global, no, ChatGPT said it, right? you have to be the bridge. So I guess that fits because we want to build a bridge and corridor between Europe and Asia, specifically to start with Germany and Indonesia, because we know there are a lot of things that Indonesia has, but also that Indonesia needs. Same on the German side. So, yeah, our vision is just to really enable, empower, you know, trade, service, and business between these two countries, because as Daniel mentioned, so even myself, I've been here for 13 years, and we always talk about the potential, the future of Indonesia, but where's the breakthrough, right? So for me, being half Indonesian, of course, it always hurts a little bit. It's a bit sad, so I want to see it, want to make it happen, so that's why we started Nexus Core. The second question was about
balancing local relevance with the global ambition.
So I guess the keyword for me here would be simply roots, yeah? So you keep your local roots, you're proud of your local roots. The roots are what shape you, that, you know, make you who you are. So don't hide them. You should, and you can be proud of your roots. And for products, for services, for a startup, for an organization, that's your starting point, right? The roots. So you can keep your roots. That's basically already covering the local aspect. And then you can branch out like a tree, right? And what is it? Let's say in the context of Kopi Kenangan, it's you know, it's local coffee, always 100% Indonesian. It's local palm sugar, and you keep the recipe. That's what your customers love in Indonesia. So why not in Singapore? Why not in other countries? And then you can maybe localize, right? I mean, for Singapore, you change the name. For Malaysia, you change the name. But you should not change your core, your roots, right? Because that's what made you successful in the first place. And I guess there are many, many other examples where that happens, right? So I guess that's how you can balance local and think global.
Great. I think it shows the spirit that Indonesia can go global, rooted here, but grow like a tree. So we are towards the end of the question before I go to our audience question. But I want to do a bit of call to action from the speakers here to the audience. I will ask one by one. What do you think the role the audience can play? We have maybe here policymaker, investor, ecosystem partner, how to make international collaboration happens. And yeah, I think we can start with that. If you were to engage everyone.
Maybe starting with real support, right? I've already tried to emphasize this before. Like, I mean, the whole day we've been here doing like an innovation workshop, co-creating solutions. So really being like, bringing like different innovators, entrepreneurs together, but also bringing different stakeholder types together, right? You know it yourself. Sometimes it's really hard to talk to the government. It's really hard to talk to a big investor and so on. So a bit more eye to eye, a bit more collaborative spirit, and really trying to, you know, work on this towards the same goal.
Call to action.
Yes.
Maybe fellow innovators.
Yeah. Okay. Looking back again to the Asia Berlin Summit on last November, I remember also how Mas Raka and also I think also these two Daniels emphasized to us that we are not only representing our company but also the Indonesian itself, maybe the Indonesian startups itself. So when I went there, the Asia Berlin consists of 4 themes, right? If I'm not mistaken, health, AI, green tech, and I forget the other one. But so it's not just connection about climate tech startups for me, but also maybe for AI. I can also connect them with the startup that I know in Indonesia. So I think that kind of consciousness, awareness, we should also have that when we represent Indonesia in global stage, or we went abroad for like conference or something, we also represent the other sectors of Indonesia, someone in Indonesia. So we can also connect them. We can also be the bridge ourselves. So it's not just the main player, but we can also, as a regular citizen, we can also be part of that.
Thank you. Very nice one. Call to action.
Call to action. I think, coming back to my first comment, I think it's a lot about, there's a lot of things already there, enablers, so it's, Salsabilla mentioned. I think for you as innovators in Jakarta hold your local government accountable to their promises. Yeah. So if they roll out enablers, then make them happen, because I mean, you can wait for them to do stuff, but that's actually not their job. Yeah, their job is to create an ecosystem in that you can work, but you need to hold them accountable that they deliver on it. Yeah, so it won't help to like, hey, start another program. That's not the point. Yeah, you guys have to make use of all of that, because as I said, there's a lot of enablers already around. And to help this and to bridge this gap of communication, happy to facilitate. Yeah? So engage with the international community, engage with enabler formats like we try to deliver. I think that's a big point, and don't hold back. Yeah. So it's wonderful in Indonesia. This marketing slogan that we see all over the world is actually true, and I really believe in it. And but it's all about also you taking responsibility, holding people accountable, and not holding back, and go. Nah, just go. It's no holding back.
Yeah, I guess I just have to connect with what Daniel said right in the very beginning, right? So we sit, we talk a lot. Also now with Nexus, right? We met people from the government. We met private companies here in Indonesia. We met a lot in Germany, also government institutions. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody, you know, is ambitious and wants to make it happen. But like Daniel said, we have to act, right? So that's, I guess, it's very redundant. What's the call to action? But it's really simple. You have to act and collaborate.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm gonna give opportunity if any of the audience want to ask questions. You can just raise your hands and the team will share you the mic. No one? No one? Oh, okay. We have two. Sometimes we need to wait, and suddenly everyone raise your hand.
Thank you, but may I speak in my bahasa?
Yes. Nanti aku bantu translate.
Thank you, Mas. Jadi yang saya tangkap seperti ini ya. Beberapa tadi kan fokusnya adalah untuk kolaborasi dengan Jakarta gitu. Tetapi isu-isu yang ada di Indonesia ini kan seringkali membahas tentang Jawa sentris atau Jakarta sentris lah ya. Kita belum melihat ke daerah-daerah yang lain. Nah, untuk di Asia Berlin Ambassador sendiri ada nggak sih ketertarikan untuk mengadakan kolaborasi dengan daerah-daerah atau kota-kota besar yang lain? Dan parameter seperti apa yang diperlukan dari kota-kota besar tersebut untuk bisa berkolaborasi dengan Asia Berlin Ambassador? Mungkin seperti itu. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Aku mau langsung jawab.
Okay. Okay. Maybe starting from Asia Berlin itself. Karena Asia Berlin is a platform by the Berlin government, right? And Berlin, as I mentioned before, there's already a sister city relationship. What's sister city in bahasa?
Kota kembar, kerjasama kota kembar.
And because of that, there's already an existing relationship, meaning the focus is also on Jakarta, obviously, right? But it doesn't limit on collaborating only with Jakarta, and actually there's like so many other partners, like for example, Daniel, maybe you can share a bit more about that as well, but like international organizations like GIZ, like many others, they mostly don't look at the big well-developed capital cities, right? But they look at second-tier cities. They look at remote areas where a development can happen. So for every level, there's actually ways to collaborate if you look for it, right? There's donors who give you a grant, there's investors who give you funding, and even if you look at some of the successful startup stories, it's not like everyone is just coming from Jakarta, right? You have interesting startups coming from Bandung, from Surabaya, from Bali, and so on and so forth. So a lot of opportunities, again, you need to take them.
Thank you. Maybe Daniel, you will add.
Yeah, I can only second what Daniel says. So our work with innovators is always trying to look beyond first-tier cities. Yeah, so one of our core focuses is always looking in second and third-tier cities, and then even going further, looking at really rural areas. Because I mean, that's very down at the basics of how innovation works. How do you create value? How do you create value through innovation, and how do you retain value through innovation? And that needs to be super local. It basically is also the base of why you should stay local for some time before you start scaling. Yeah? Because you need to take care of retain value to the ecosystem that you're acting in. And as such, because that's what we believe in, we always try to include innovators also from rural areas as much as possible, because they solve hyper-local problems or local problems with appropriate approaches. If I look at the AI example, I mean, if we have AI for agriculture, how do I make it accessible for a cocoa farmer somewhere in central Sulawesi? Yeah, they cannot afford a smartphone, or if they can afford a smartphone, they don't have proper connectivity. Try to push a large language model through a 2G or 3G connection, it's useless, yeah? So we very much also look at rural areas, but it's significantly more difficult to scale this, and that's why you don't see it so much, yeah? So it stays very local, and it's mostly not so visible, and again, there are many more rural areas than large urban areas. So it's more fragmented, but the support is there, and we have a strong focus also supporting more rural areas, and especially second and third tier cities as hubs.
I think, yeah, we didn't cover it, but the topic of innovation hubs, or these hubs, a city as a hub, is something that we always also talk about when we talk innovation. And maybe to you, you have a question?
Yeah, may I speak in bahasa as well?
Yes,
okay, so. Melihat Jakarta gitu, punya cita-cita besar sebagai kota go to, mau jadi 20 besar dunia dan lain sebagainya, itu seperti harapan besar gitu ya. Kita selalu melihat hal positif, tapi yang saya lihat keberadaan dua Daniel di sini, keberadaan Mas Christian di sini, dan mungkin perjuangan Sasa juga memperlihatkan bahwa Jakarta ini masih ada hal yang menghambat untuk Jakarta bisa going global gitu. Dari masing-masing perspektif, mungkin dari developing agency, dari pelakunya sendiri, innovators dan lain sebagainya, apa sih otokritik yang bisa mungkin kita berikan kepada orang Jakarta, pemerintah Jakarta, masyarakat Jakarta yang om-om di sini lihat gitu? Apa ya challenge apa yang terbesar yang ini harus disingkirkan baru kita bisa ngomong global gitu? Karena yang saya lihat di sini kita bisa ngomong positif, tapi kenyataannya ketika keluar ruangan ini ngobrol sama abang-abang gorengan, ngomong sama tukang parkir, jauh dari global, dan banyak hal yang membuat melihat diri kita sendiri kecil gitu dibandingkan apa yang kita bicarakan di ruangan ini gitu. Jadi apa sih yang benar-benar menghambat Jakarta untuk bisa global dari perspektif masing-masing? Terima kasih.
Thank you. You spice it up. So, om-om dan tante di depan, a bit of autocritic, like what barriers that needs to be tackled so that Jakarta we talk as a government, as a city, as a citizen, so that we can really achieve that 20 global city. Anyone wants to start? Oh iya, Om Daniel sudah ready.
I still have to develop the thought in my head, but okay, I mean, I'll try to start. So maybe let me put it like this. I was in Bangkok 1 month ago for the first time for many years, and I was actually quite surprised about Bangkok. But then I asked myself, so I mean, Bangkok is a let's say more global city in the ranking, yeah, than Jakarta, and then when you compare it to benchmark it to Jakarta, like what is the difference, or what makes it? Is there more funding or money in the ecosystem? No. Do they have better food? I don't think so. I mean, is it because you can smoke weed? Maybe, but I think the main reason why Bangkok is ahead in that in that ranking is because the brand of Bangkok is so strong, right? And if you look at the ecosystem, everyone is proud of, you know, Bangkok, Thailand. You wear it on your T-shirt and so on. I cannot really remember someone running around here in Jakarta with a Jakarta T-shirt, unless it's a PDP campaign T-shirt for example. Any other party. So what I'm trying to say is, I think it's a bit like it starts having the pride. It starts with having the pride. It starts with having the branding and showing that a bit abroad. Because I think in many ways Jakarta is actually a cool city, right? It's like we may think, oh, Jakarta is so dirty, In Berlin, everyone is like, hey, Berlin is so dirty and it's so cool, Like you go to other cities in Germany that are like clean, but we in Berlin, we are like rough. We are, as Daniel said, we're creative. We have like nightlife and so on. So I think that's also something that Jakarta all has, but no one knows about it, right? No one beyond Jakarta. So yeah. Maybe starting
confidence, yeah. Autocritic.
Okay. Can I also talk in Indonesia?
Ya, boleh.
If I kalau waktu itu pernah nonton video juga gitu di YouTube, ada yang menjelaskan parameter global city gitu. Terus salah satu yang utamanya adalah it attracts global talent. Gitu. And maybe if we see Jakarta, maybe if we compare to another cities, maybe we are far from that. And kalau misalkan bisa di-extract satu-satu, kenapa tidak attract global talent? Kan bisa banyak ya, misalkan infrastruktur dan lain-lain itu jadinya banyak banget gitu. Itu mungkin salah banyaknya gitu dari hal-hal yang itu. Tapi mungkin dari point of view personal sebagai eksekutor gitu ya untuk inovasi-inovasi gitu. The main problem that we have is that we don't have the same perceptions of the problem gitu. Jadi when we have this solution, sometimes we have this another perspectives from other people, other stakeholders that may not agree or maybe have some status quo that they have to defend, something like that. It's it can be very broad, but I think the root cause is we don't have the same perspectives as the problem, so we cannot do the solutions together. So it's really hinders. Yeah.
So that's for the citizen. We don't see the same problem. Thank you, Sasa. Christian first.
Yeah, I've been thinking now for I guess 5, 6, 7 minutes. It's a great question, really. Yeah, and no, I've been thinking more than 7 minutes about it. It's been 12 years, and I really don't have the answer to it. But when friends come, they ask me, "Hey, I want to go to Bali. Christian, you're in Indonesia. Let's meet in Bali." I tell them, "No, you have to come to Jakarta. Or I'm not going to meet you at all. I don't fly to Bali if you don't come to Jakarta first." And then they say, "Oh, I've seen Jakarta on the news. It's the sinking city, right? It's half of Jakarta is below sea level. It's always in the top 5 of the worst air qualities in the world. It's the slowest traffic in the world. People fall into, I don't know, when they try to walk, they fall, and the laziest walkers because you cannot walk." So all the news in German newspapers, at least, and I guess there are a lot of international YouTube videos as well, it's always so negative about Indonesia or Jakarta, right? And I always wonder, you just mentioned Thailand, and I saw a really cool case study about pad thai, the dish, which was actually, apparently it's a marketing stunt by the government, right? It was never a dish, it got invented, now it's like our nasi goreng. And I would wish that the government is doing a very positive news push on Jakarta somehow, because I have to agree, right? If I look outside the window, it's not the freshest air. So why would me as a tourist, right? Why would I have to do it? And before getting international talent to Indonesia, we need the tourists as well, right? And everybody's just skipping Jakarta. I guess.
But you kind of mentioned it, right? You just said the food example. So nasi goreng. Everyone in Europe likes nasi goreng, but how many people know that nasi goreng is an Indonesian dish or even a word that is in Bahasa, right? While if you look at some of the Thai dishes that you mentioned, everyone knows Thai food, right? So again, it's about branding. It's about
a lot of awareness is missing. I mean, people don't know that Indonesia is the 4th largest country in the world. Like, they look it up in front of me because they don't believe me, right? So yeah, I guess there are of course a lot of problems inside the country, so the government cannot really push too much. You have to focus on local problems, but for me it's just a matter of awareness, and it's so back to my story. So my friends, they come to Jakarta and they all love it.
Love it, they love it. Last one maybe.
Yeah, just echoing what the others said, I think like stop underselling yourself. I agree, I love the city. I have rarely lived in a place with a higher convenience level than Jakarta. Yeah, the food, but that's the European perspective is, again, nobody knows, insignificant amount of people are aware that Indonesia is the 4th largest country in the world by population. If you tell them that there's 17,000 islands, they're like, what? It's like, and then you give them a size comparison. You say like, if you take the route from Lisbon to Moscow, then you have the expansion of Indonesia, and everybody's like, seriously, I didn't know that. It was just like, I thought it's a small island with like surfers and stuff. No, so no, that's Bali. So there's a misconception about Indonesia in general, and that also reflects on the underselling of Jakarta. So I think stop underselling yourselves and like push for that. There's one thing I think that which is very tangible and is a situation which I wasn't aware of, and I just learned recently, is that Jakarta as a city in the regional context is not very well connected. So if you want to fly from Manila in the Philippines to Jakarta, which is a 4-hour flight, there's 2 daily flights which are non-stop. Everything else is a stop in Singapore or KL or in Hong Kong. Yeah, so there's 2 flights a day. Those are 2 of the main cities, yeah? From Bangkok to the Philippines to Manila, I think there's 5 or 6 flights on a daily basis. Yeah? If you want to go to Laos, Vientiane, there's no direct flights from Jakarta. If you want to go to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, there's no direct flights. So I think like connectivity is a big, big issue that is completely underestimated. So that's, I think, something that, yeah, well, the country itself and Jakarta could work on, so get the city better connected. And about local traffic, I really don't want to talk because I have to go to Pondok Indah later. So.
Okay, thank you. So after the autocritic, so I have a job to sum it up, but to also lift it up back again. But also my reflection, yeah. When I first want to go to Germany, I thought Germany is gonna be super, super advanced. You know, we have much faster Gojek. Like in here, 5 minutes you order food, it's not coming, you already marah-marah gitu ya. In Germany, 5 minutes is like magic. And then the Chris, like, we pay everything with phones. In Germany, we still use cash. So I think the point of really to bring that confidence back, to bring that bold, that actually we are doing good. Actually, people needs to also learn from Indonesia, from Jakarta. And I think about branding, so hopefully we are everyone here today in Jakarta Future Festival are part of this movement. You know that I always thought it's a heart. Do you know that logo is actually the map of Jakarta? So I think this is a start of something the Jakarta wants to do as well, to really bring everyone here together, acknowledge that we want to be a global city and that we already have the elements. We just need the confidence, the curiosity, and the empowerment to achieve that. And yeah, lastly, I think what we will say is that we need to work together to achieve that. And yeah, I think it's a very good discussion, and hopefully the countdown that we have in Bundaran HI really brings us to the top 20 global cities. So please give a big round of applause to the speakers. And I would like to call the MC. I want the speakers to stay here for a moment. Yes.
Baik, sekali lagi berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah, luar biasa. Terima kasih banyak Mas Raka. Sudah drive diskusinya dengan baik, sudah menjahitnya dengan baik, akhirnya kita mendapatkan pemahaman-pemahaman baru dari diskusikan yang dilaksanakan hari ini. Singkatnya bahwa ternyata kolaborasi yang sifatnya global ini bukan tentang bagaimana melihat suatu kota lebih maju atau lebih terkebelakang, tapi bagaimana melihat bahwa kita harus bisa bertukar nilai, membangun dan menjadi sebuah jembatan, serta bertumbuh bersama untuk menciptakan ruang kolaborasi dan juga inovasi bagi kota tercinta, kota Jakarta. Alright, we would now like to respectfully invite all distinguished speaker and the moderator to proceed to the center of the stage for a group photo. Kepada seluruh rekan-rekan media dan juga tim dokumentasi, diharap mempersiapkan diri untuk sesi dokumentasi yang akan dimulai. Oke. Allow me to guide you on the count of 1, 2, and 3. Once again, in a count of 1, 2, 3. Alright, as a closing gesture, may I kindly ask everyone to raise your right hand and point 5 fingers as a symbol of 5 centuries of Jakarta. In a count of 1, 2, 3. One last more, okay. Thank you so much. Give a big round of applause for all the speakers and moderators. Di sini Mas Raka boleh membantu untuk membagikan goodie bag kepada seluruh speakers. Sebagai bentuk terima kasih sudah berpartisipasi dan juga membagikan pandangan serta pengetahuannya tentang Jakarta menjadi sebuah kota global. We extend our sincere appreciation for your time, insight, and the meaningful exchange of perspective today. It has been an honor to learn from each of you and to take a part in shaping a vision for stronger and more impactful international collaboration in the future. Once again, thank you so much. Sekali lagi dipersilakan kembali ke tempat duduknya masing-masing. Sekali lagi tepuk tangan yang meriah teman-teman.
Jakarta shines with dreams so bright.